Did I have no song?
No, my color of my screen of my lighting makes me look like I'm fucking
you're
Donald Trump or some shit.
Yep.
Hang
You're
on,
definitely Team Orange. That's for sure.
Yeah, fucking
Well,
hell.
this is an interesting intro to the Ramblecast.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Ramblecast After Dark. My name is Matt. I'm hosting tonight's show. Jack is away in San Diego, allegedly. So they still haven't.
No, not
really
that. I was listening to your mic, Matt. Like it
my
sounds
mic. My mic's
it sounds like it doesn't sound like it's
like
the good
my
mic.
new.
It sounds like another mic.
Yeah, it sounds like you might not be connected to the right one.
Well, there you go. There goes our whole
best produced podcast.
Best produced podcast.
Here we go. This is my microphone.
Way better.
Yeah,
there's
baby.
a good one.
There's the voice.
Right.
Let's
Thank you.
fucking go.
By the way, where was this comment?
See, that's
5 minutes
more
ago
realistic.
before we started?
This is what I look like.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So for everyone out there, Chris had a weird light on for his mic, and it made him look like he was just super tan.
Right.
But not like the normal kind of tan.
Pale as a mother.
Just side note here. Recently did a binge mic. Hi, Miami Mike. I did a binge watch with my son of the Transformers movies. We've been going
did you start with the cartoon?
We're watching the cartoon now.
Oh, okay.
Listen, the cartoon holds a place of nostalgia in the three of our minds, right?
Just saying.
But to him,
my car. Every time I walk away from my car and it locks itself, it gives the Transformers sound.
Nice.
Gives me a laugh every time.
Matthew Treese, you're joining the wrong live stream. This is not the Carol Burnett.
Sorry,
live
not
stream.
the Carol Burnett. So but I'm sorry. I don't want to go away from what you were mentioning.
No, just Transformers 2007, real quick. 2007 Transformers.
Great movie.
Why
Shia LaBeouf.
Their skin tones are so wickedly orange. Watch it. It's weird. It's like, and it's not a normal orange. Transformers, it looks like they're sweating the whole time. 2007. Check it out. Okay, go to you. I defer my minutes to.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that had something. It had something to do with what's her name?
Megan Fox.
Megan Fox.
She was super tan in that film. Yeah.
But weirdly tan. Not
weirdly
like,
tan. Yeah.
It's like it's like an orange tan. Yes, I did. Yeah, it's white balancing at random. So there's a white balance which goes off of the type of lighting. Like you can have tungsten or you can have fluorescent. And a lot of web mics you have, or not web mics, but cameras, you have no control over the white balance. It's a whole thing that I was looking into as I was looking at better webcams.
You're trying to tell me I can't control my whiteness? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
I'm telling you that you can't control your white balance. And that is not a racial thing.
Anywho. So speaking of the Carol Burnett podcast or whatever, this live stream, what's with Jack like pinning these random things on me, being like, "Oh, you've never seen this," blah blah blah.
That's what he's always been.
Like, why the fuck would I he just ever seen any of the shit that he talks about?
What if he's watching us right now? That
I
would
don't
be
fucking care.
No, he's not.
I'll fucking tell it to him right to his face.
Anything before 1970, he just assumes we've seen it or listened to it.
We've seen it all.
Yeah, we've seen it all. Yeah, we're just a roaming encyclopedia.
And the one time that I actually caught him on something, remember there was something that I was like, wait, you've never seen Link Lancelot? And he's like, I've never heard of this show.
Right.
And it's like, and Randy's in the chat tonight, can confer with me. He's the one that was like, yeah, it's Lancelot Link, because I couldn't think of the name, but I knew it existed. It was a spy show with chimpanzees, if I'm not mistaken. Uh-huh. It was before we got into the every which way but loose kind of era of cinema. Lancelot Link, there we go.
I was saying that.
And Jack has not seen it, by the way, so phooey on him.
Well, that's like even Chris. Like I think I said it to Jana or somebody the other day. It's like, you know, how he just tends to. It's like even you not going to, you know, Mark Hamill Street. It's like, how many episodes did he go? You gonna go to Mark Hamill Street? You gonna go to Mark Hamill Street? And then you get back. I did not go to Mark Hamill Street. Where did you go to Mark Hamill Street?
I didn't go. I was too busy having fun.
Exactly.
I don't have to go visit the street in which Luke was born or raised on. I don't care.
Right.
I have no idea how to get this off of there now.
It's weird. It's like smaller than usual too.
I know, right? Somehow I clicked on this and I'm like, no clue.
Sherry says he's always done that in every podcast. It's right. That's one of Jack's staying power bits of humor that he uses, true. Right? He just like
take a shot.
Kills a joke that's not first of all, that's not funny to begin with.
Right.
So he just like repeatedly kills it, and hopefully he's gonna get like a different reaction out of it. But anyway,
speaking of,
you haven't seen Fellowship of the Ring?
Jack has not seen any of them. Remember, like he watched like
he
half.
Sat through. He said that he watched
half
Fellowship,
of Fellowship
and then half.
Right.
Oh, I thought he said he watched half of Two Towers.
He might have. My memory is he only watched half of Fellowship and then said, "I'm done."
I mean, Two Towers is a long movie to get through. I understand he's old,
but it's got the Ents.
It does have
yes. If you watch,
if you're watching the extended version,
exactly, the extended version is the only way to watch them. Return of the King is 4 hours long. If you watch,
you're right.
It is.
So I don't know. I don't know why. Maybe I heard this week. I learned something new about Two Towers this week. Completely non sequitur. It happened to come into conversation at work, and I thought it was really funny. And then I'll somehow get back on track to what I was originally thinking earlier. But
that's what we do.
The Ents.
Yeah.
I learned this week that the reason why, and this is canon, I believe. I mean, at least I'm told, and maybe the Tolkien encyclopedia here can confirm or deny this, but the Ents, they didn't have any female Ents in their vicinity because they were too fucking boring, and they all left. And that sounds ridiculous, but the person who told me is like, no, that's actually canon. That's actually a reality in the Lord of the Rings.
I'm gonna be looking for that because, and I wonder if it's in the section of the Ents Council, because the Ents Council goes on for a really long section, and
they drove all the female Ents away.
I'm currently reading The Hobbit, and then I got a collection of it's actually kind of a cool design on these books, but I got the Lord of the Rings as well because my son is reading them too. So I'm kind of a couple chapters behind him. So he's reading The Hobbit.
It's such a chore. I mean, the first eighth of the book, the whole feast is just like fuck.
And the feast isn't that long though. It's just a chapter.
Yeah.
It's just a
chapter. It seemed like 5.
But the chapter that's like 150 pages long.
The fifth chapter, Riddles in the Dark, though.
I mean, Riddles in the Dark is an awesome chapter. Yeah.
Can you think of another better fifth chapter? That's so specific.
No,
but Riddles in the Dark, though. I mean, that's a solid, and that's much longer than even the dinner. But
yeah, but whatever. I think that one intrigues you though, because you're dealing with a creature that you don't know. You're dealing with riddles, which everyone likes riddles. You're dealing with a lot of just intrigue with the ring and all the stuff, and then it's kind of like a first step into a larger world.
It really is too, because even when Bilbo picks it up, he's just like, oh. And even like how it says it's like kind of a nothing thing, like he's gonna put it in his pocket and deal with it later. So
Randy in the chat, this is interesting. I didn't know this existed. Apparently he listened to The Hobbit as an audiobook read by Andy Serkis.
Yeah, Andy Serkis has done all of the recent redoings of the
I did not know that.
Yes.
Yeah, so if you get on like Apple iTunes or the Apple Store, if you download, there's like 4 or 5 different versions, audiobooks of Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, but the newest ones are all done by Andy Serkis.
That's awesome. Yeah, and he's a mastermind of voices.
And just to be even more geeky, I'm listening to it as well.
Oh, nice.
So I typically, when I go to sleep, if I can't fall asleep, what I'll do is I'll put on an audiobook. And so I'll put on the audiobook of what I'm reading. I don't always do this. I was doing this with Dune for a long time because that would put me right to sleep. Like the authors of Dune, Children of Dune, and Dune Messiah, I was just kind of going through those. But yes, Randy, I'm also actually listening to The Hobbit while I read it, but I kind of like to read it first and then listen to it, because sometimes you miss stuff, or when you're reading, sometimes your mind almost imagines more things than what your mind can catch up onto when you're actually listening to stuff, because the way that the Hobbit, like Bilbo's house, is described in the book, like I spent more time in my mind kind of imagining this long linear kind of like
with all of these, because he kind of talks about it as one long pathway with these different rooms off of it. But when I'm listening to the audiobook, it's just like my mind just went past that idea and just like kind of, so anyway, not
right,
that there's
tangent,
any
tangent.
I think
favorite audiobook. Go.
Well, that's hard. I think it depends. Like the one I was about to mention anyway was to reaffirm what Matt was saying. I've been doing that for probably at least 7 years, where I buy the book as well as the audiobook, and because exactly your mind tends to wonder of like, it could be anything, especially if you really love the if like Star Wars or Lord of the Rings, anything it's a big scope, but your mind will wonder of like, oh, where could this go? And the next thing you know, you're like, oh, where the fuck was I? But so the book that I enjoyed a lot with the audiobook as well was Dooku Jedi Lost, because that was a play.
Yes.
It was written as a play.
That
so
is
you
really
actually you hear it done as a play. So it's not like a traditional like Dooku entered in briskly by the like it's all just like a play would be.
It's all spoken at. No, that is a good one to mention, by the way, as like a good audiobook, just because of that.
Yeah.
Chris, you got one in mind?
Yeah, I mean
anything by Mark Thompson on Star Wars, by the way, is great.
Yeah, I can think of.
It is weird to hear his female voices after a while.
any of the Thrawn books are just awesome to listen to. But I'm actually going to go away from Star Wars for a second. Pearl Clutch, right? I think I will say, fuck. There's like a bunch of them. You know what? I don't know. I'm gonna list off a few. So Ready Player One, Will Wheaton, amazing. Like I thought his reading of Ready Player One was so good that it made me go back and read the book again. Right. So like there was one of those things where like, if the audiobook makes you want to go back and read again, and I'm not much of a reader. I don't read a lot at all, but it made me want to go back and read it again. I think he did such a good job with that. Any of the Thrawn books are amazing. And then the
Heir to the Empire trilogy, worth a listen. Like if you've never read them and you're curious about them. To your point, or Chris's point, it made me think of something, and I've mentioned this before, but the Steve Martin book, Born Standing Up, Steve Martin reads it, which is really, I love that when you get the author to actually read their book, and when it's someone who you recognize their voice and it's so specific or unique. So I wanted to, one of the audiobooks that's kind of on my want to read list is Shogun. Like after watching Shogun, I just was like, oh, this would be. Yeah, that's why I was just going to do the audio with that.
So there's another book that a series. I guess I'll count it as a series as my entry to this as well. It's a book that I've actually talked about on this show before. It's a series of books by an author. Trump his author's Dennis E. Taylor. Will Fry says, we have a favorite audiobook narrator. Will says his is Grover Gardner. What does Grover Gardner read? Drop that in the chat for us, Will. The book series We Are Legion, We Are Bob, or the Bobiverse. If you haven't read these stories or listened to them, I highly, highly recommend it. Like the Bobiverse book book series is actually just such a cool science fiction story about. I don't want to give it away, just because I'm not even going to share what it is. But I think that anybody who listens to this show would be a fan of it, because you kind of learn as the story progresses, like what's happening. So I don't want to share the plot because it's. Let's just put it this way: it starts off in Comic-Con, which is kind of cool.
Ooh,
like a Comic-Con-esque event, and it has a lot to do with AI. It has a lot to do with replication, and multi-universal space travel, which is a really short version of what the story is all about, but it's a ton of fun. Dennis E. Taylor's We Are Legion, We Are Bob. And the same audiobook reader, I'm trying to think of the guy's name. It's going to drive me nuts. I'm going to pull it up in just a second. The same guy who reads the Bobiverse series also was the voice author of oh my god, I'm drawing a blank of the goddamn movie. The Project Hail Mary, not the movie, the book. Project Hail Mary is a story that's written by the same guy who wrote The Martian. And it is a fucking amazing story that has recently been the rights to it have been picked up, and they're making either a Netflix series and or a movie about. And it's the same audiobook narrator that does both the Bobiverse and does this story. He does a phenomenal job. Like he's just a really good narrator. So I'm going to say he's probably my favorite narrator. Now I'm going to find out who the hell it is.
Will Fry in the chat replies, mostly his history, nonfiction, but some fiction. The Stand, The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich, and For Ra, The Civil War. Literally hundreds of titles. So Grover Gardner for those playing at home.
Sometimes actors can be good though, like Stephen Lang, who probably most people know him nowadays from Avatar. He was the bad guy. He's got a real, he was also in Tombstone, but he was also in Gettysburg in '93 and also in Gods and Generals. He played two different roles, but he has a very distinctive voice, and he narrated Gettysburg. The movie Gettysburg is based on a book called shit. It's not called shit, but like I forgot what it's shit. It'll hit me later. But anyway, his voice is very good. And then Chris answering his question about another good author that's when they remake them, when the Game of Thrones books,
Ray Porter, correct? Sorry,
Thank you, Will Fry. Killer Angels, yeah. So he's done a good. Shelby Foote's a great Civil War author as well. He's passed on. But when the show started to come out, Ian Glenn, who played Jorah Mormont, he has that really raspy voice. He's a great audiobook reader. He's read a lot of the Game of Thrones stuff, especially the little books as well, the novellas. So it's by Sir Ian Glenn. Like he has I can't do his voice, but it's so nice to listen to him.
Oh, Sir Ian. Oh, I may have listened to some books by.
But yeah.
Okay. But or maybe I've just listened to enough British authors.
Yeah. He was Khaleesi. He was Khaleesi's, personal guard. That guy,
he reads books.
Yeah, like I have him in a couple of.
He can read.
He can read.
I didn't know that he could read. I mean, I'm not trying to be racist or anything. I just thought,
how would that be racist?
I just
British
watched
people can't read.
No, I just watched this 30 Rock episode, and like Tina Fey thinks that. Or Liz Lemon thinks that Tracy Morgan can't read, so it's a whole. And then everybody's like, "That's racist." So
right,
yeah. That show pushes.
It's kind of a sad because 30 Rock was actually really good, and it kind of has fallen by the wayside because in comparison to The Office and Parks and Rec and the shows that were out at the time, I think people would have picked it.
Well, I think one thing, and we just started watching it because we kind of go through different sitcoms with the kids. This is kind of what we sit around and they're getting of an age where we can talk about or have these more mature kind of references and shows, which is nice. My daughter immediately noticed, she was like, "There's no love triangle. There's no will they, won't they in this?" And she immediately was like, "That's awesome."
Yeah.
Because almost all sitcoms have to have that love triangle rom-com, and
I think they ruined it. Yeah, I think love triangles ruined the show. Because that's what I think Jack even talked about that once with the New Girl. The New Girl seasons 1 and 2 are fucking awesome, and then the more they get into
we rewatched it recently. I will say though, 3 and 4. It's basically the last 2 episodes that I feel are weaker. 6 loses a step, and then is 6 the last season or 5?
I don't even remember.
Anyway, the last season is just kind of like a
Yeah, the last season.
Shoehorned in there.
Right.
But the season before that, the last full season, I will say, for New Girl fans, I feel is where they really kind of miss a step, or it just kind of feels like maybe they lost some writers or something like that. But the seasons where they actually bring back Coach, and they have Damon Wayans on there, which is actually 3 and 4. I think he's back on there. So it actually happens after the Jess and Nick thing. So, and then they bring in Megan Fox, which you'd think wouldn't work, but I think that her character is actually, So, anyway, that's my opinion. I know Nick, I know Jack, and for once I can say this because he's not on here. It's that I know he says that it ruins it after they get together, and their breakup episode is horrible. But honestly, I think that the best seasons of that show are when Coach comes back, and that's post Nick and Jess first getting together. So.
I agree. I think there was a missing element, because I remember someone was saying that one time because he's in the pilot, but then he couldn't get out of his contract for another show, so he had to leave.
It makes the cast more diverse too. Just having there's an actual scene where they kind of address it, and both Coach and Winston are like, Nick, you can't. They're kind of basically saying Nick, you're not black. And to have two characters actually telling a white guy on a sitcom, no, dude, so, but it's also when you get this really hilarious Eddie Murphy impersonation because and I'm sorry for blanking on the actor that plays Winston, because he truly becomes one of the best characters. He's kind of like the Phoebe. If you break it down like Friends, he's kind of like the Phoebe of the group.
They're a good mix though. Cause because they all have their silly sides, that's for sure. And irrational sides, and
they don't flip flop as much as they really don't flip flop. Like Friends, the way that Ross and Rachel do jumping jacks to not be together is just at some point you're just like, give it a fucking rest. With at least New Girl, if you watch it as a rom-com, you're like, okay, well, they go on a break, they go their different ways and have their different things, but they come back together. It still doesn't make sense, but
just sticking with the Friends thing as well as even that 70s show. It's to me, you're jumping the shark when you get to that point to where it's like, okay, we're running out of ideas. Let's have Ross. I mean, let's have Rachel and Joey hook up for a few episodes. Same way as you had Mila Kunis, date every single cast member on that 70s show. And you're like, gee. And I thought the mom had one of the best lines about that. It was that she comes down and she catches her kissing. I think it's the curly haired one. And she's like, Jesus. She didn't sound like she said Jesus. She said, geez, you guys switch partners more than square dancers, and that was perfectly described what I think the whole audience was thinking. Of just God.
Randy mentions that, and I'm trying to think of the actress's name as opposed to just calling her Phoebe. But she was recently on, what's up?
Lisa Kudrow.
Thank you, Lisa Kudrow. She was just recently on Conan O'Brien podcast. They're good friends and dated in the early years. Enjoyed Conan. Always enjoyed his podcasts. I'd like to listen to that one. I think it's interesting that she's always been very. And I think you and I talked about this, Nick. She bristles at Phoebe as the character Phoebe. She hates the character Phoebe.
Oh, really?
We didn't talk about that?
Well, I don't know. I never heard her say she hates the character.
She just dislikes what she's kind of distanced herself, at least from the Phoebe character.
Well, I don't blame her there. Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's part of her that, but I mean, she's,
I think so. What did we talk about? We were talking about that with Carl Weathers, or Billy D, as Chris knows him. About how
man.
When you're an actor that's really super famous for one role, you quickly reject it at first because you want to do other things, and you don't want people to always think, "Oh, that's Apollo Creed."
I'm Not Spock.
Right.
The famous book by Leonard Nimoy, his biography, I'm Not Spock, and then he later wrote.
Oh, the baby book.
No, he wrote I Am Spock.
Right. I know, I'm kidding.
Okay.
that confused me in the 70s for sure.
Yeah. No, I mean, but he said that as you get older, you quickly you then learn to appreciate it because you remembered, and people loved you enough to idolize you, and so you learn to embrace it after a certain point. That's just the way life is, and I think most actors would count themselves lucky if they're remembered for one role, or one movie that's truly a classic that people will watch 50 to 100 years down the road. Because I think that's probably why Harrison Ford always hated Han Solo to an extent, because he knew that would be the role he would always be remembered for until Indiana Jones came along, but
right.
But it's just,
but it's still, I mean, like, when I don't want to think about that day, but when the day comes when it says Harrison Ford, it was just like,
it'll be Han Solo.
It'll be Han Solo. Like, I mean, it's just
Han Solo / Indiana Jones. That's what it'll be.
Yeah.
Or Star Wars / Indiana Jones.
Yeah. I mean, he's been in so many other things, and we've talked about him before, but I think, and maybe I told you guys, like, my son and I are going to go see Last Crusade at our local theater here, because they play old vintage movies and go in and get a bucket of popcorn. Vintage. So nice. It's
only 35 years old.
It's 100 years old now. Oh! I'm sorry. I was talking about the movie theater, but they show classic movies basically. Right. I think they've always tried to do 25 years or older, but they do show more modern movies, because they'll do like a brew in view, or a wine and dine, or wine and something, I can't remember, but basically they have a chick flick that they serve wine at. And then they have like, I know it's so gender
stereotypical.
Yeah. And then they have like, we're going to serve beer at the male action movie or male comedy, I mean, I will say though, I did go see Love Actually there with my wife. It was a Christmas. It was playing. She was sick. We paid for the tickets, and you get these 2 glasses of wine. And I was like, well, I don't want to go to waste.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was pretty popped. It was one of the best viewings of Love Actually I had seen.
So would they show Sideways and only serve Merlot? Because that would...
I fucking hate Merlot.
In a styrofoam cup.
I'm not drinking any fucking Merlot. Yeah. It is interesting to me. I always loved like those random facts of like what happens, like, when a song is in a movie and all of a sudden it goes back to number 1, and then when Sideways came out, the sales of Merlot dropped like 200%, and then Pinot Noir like shot up 1,000%.
Yeah.
Like no one had ever drank Pinot, really.
If you had a vineyard that was specializing in Merlot, you were suffering. I recently, speaking of wine and movies, sometimes I get to go out to the theaters and see movies in theaters. Sometimes not so much, but my wife really wanted to see this movie. It was called Widow Clicquot, and it's about this champagne called Veuve Clicquot is the name of the champagne. Yeah,
no, the orange label.
Got an orange label. There you go.
Oh.
This is kind of more of like
being cultured.
Think of like a period piece with heavy on the romance.
I'm good.
Well, that was what I was in for, but I was the DD for my wife and her friend, so I got to go see that movie. It was I enjoyed it. It just I got kind of more into the history part of things, so I'm kind of more like, ooh, I would have liked them to have gone further with the history part, whereas they were like, we think our audience is women, and they really want to see Pride and Prejudice with a champagne maker with zombies. Yeah. So
fuck. It sounds like a personal hell, dude. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I was fine.
A movie that I really appreciated and no one else appreciated, just of wine. I think I've mentioned it before. It's a 2004 film with Russell Crowe called A Good Year, and it's a Ridley Scott film. That's what's weird. That's what's weird about it, is that it's really out of type for both of these guys to make this movie, and it's basically Russell Crowe is a snooty British stockbroker who inherits a vineyard in the south of France. And then he goes down there thinking he's going to, flip it real quick, and make a few million, and ends up falling in love with the place. And I don't want to get too much into it, but it's a good film. And like it bombed, and I don't think anyone watched it.
What year did it come out?
2004. It's either 2004 or 2006. It's one of the two. I think it's 2004.
What was the name again?
A Good Year.
A Good Year. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to be a good husband and look up some other more wine-related movies. So
yeah, I mean, it's got a good cast in it too. Like there's some people in there at the time you would not have recognized, but today you will recognize them.
Let's take a palate cleanser.
Gargle and spit.
Pretty much. Commercial break.
Okay. Oh, did you guys want to go ahead and get to the emails since
they're
so fucking long?
You're complaining about the emails being long?
Yeah, everyone sent an email. There's a couple in the chat here. You can go fuck yourself.
Wow. Jeez, you're turning into me.
No. So the first one is a quite lengthy email. And it was sent a few weeks back when all of us were kind of rotating around and not all four of us could be here. Once again, not all four of us are here. But since all three of these emails are Chris-centric, I'm going to read them. So the first one is titled Star Trek, the original series. Hi, RCAD. I hope that all of you are doing well. I'm writing to weigh in on the conversation around Chris and Star Trek, the original series. I was actually planning to let this go, but Jack keeps bringing it back up, so I figured why not? Wow, there's a talk about irony.
I know. We didn't plan this, by the way.
No, we didn't. You don't need to read the email on air if this is too long. Too late. I don't know, Chris, but from the podcast, it sounds like we lived in similar spots in Massachusetts in the 90s. Unlike Chris, I grew up watching the original series reruns on almost a daily basis. I mean, it came on at 2 a.m. or something like that, but we just set our VCR to automatically record while we were sleeping and watch the next day.
Why didn't you do that, Chris?
Yeah, Chris.
You're muted.
Chris.
You're muted.
Sorry.
If you want to be.
I don't know why I didn't think to do that.
So when Chris informed the podcast that he'd never seen the original series because it just wasn't on, I planned to write in and call bullshit.
Oh, thanks.
In fact, I was listening to the podcast while I was preparing our family's Thanksgiving turkey.
Oh, man. That's high praise that we were actually with you in Thanksgiving.
Wait, that was a year? Like, that was Thanksgiving time?
No.
Well, people listen to this stuff all at different times. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
But thanks.
I can't think. Was it that long ago? I don't think it was that long ago.
I don't know.
Anyway, I mean, it doesn't surprise me if Jack has been harping on that for 8 months.
It definitely, it's definitely, I was watching Star Trek. So yeah, I think that does check, because in my Star Trek rewatch, I was ending with the classic series. So I would have been talking about classic Trek. I made it almost one entire year. That's right. Because I remember when you finished it. I remember when you said I finished it up, and that wasn't too long ago. That was like March. So yeah, that does make sense, I think. Was it? No, it was last year, because it took me a full year. I thought. Wow. I thought it took me a full year. Damn. Listeners, if you know, help me out. But I swore I finished. Maybe I finished in Christmas time, but maybe a year and a month. I don't know. Is there a Star Trek challenge out there? Hashtag wants to know. So at that point of the episode, I started fuming like Bulldog on Frasier. This is total bullshit. My husband and kid ran to the kitchen because they thought I must have hurt myself or that something had gone wrong with the turkey. For months, it's been on my to-do list, although not very high on it, to write into the RCAD and call out Chris. However, new information has come to light. Okay. And instead, I'm writing in defense of Chris.
No shit. Okay.
I recently learned from my dad that our house was topographically in a weird spot. So apparently we picked up transmissions from 4 metro areas where most folks only got signals from 1 metro area.
I love how this conversation went from preparing the turkey, clearly pissed her off so much that she talked to her dad about it at Thanksgiving dinner.
What the hell?
I'm also sorry for that, but I'm glad that it happened.
Proof that we live rent free in our listeners' heads.
People's heads. Yeah.
Yeah. And okay, go ahead with the rest of the email there. Yeah.
Okay. We were picking up Star Trek
email.
reruns from somewhere in Connecticut. Well, Chris doesn't live too far from there, so.
Well, no, I grew up not too far from Connecticut, for sure.
You know, most people in our region, and probably Chris, weren't able to watch the original series until box sets became a thing.
Yeah.
And to Chris's point, I think it was a long time ago, there are a lot of better, more accessible shows out there, and there have been for a long time. I love watching reruns of the original series as a kid, but there really wasn't much else that was age appropriate on TV at the time that my entire family could agree to watch together.
Mm-hmm.
I've done an adult rewatch for nostalgia purposes, but I can understand why it wouldn't necessarily be on the top of anyone's list. However, like Matt said many times, just about any Star Trek series makes great background noise while you're working on something else. The stories aren't usually too challenging, and the episodes don't usually build on each other. Maybe someday Chris will get around to it in his own time if he feels like it.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I'm not opposed to it. Although, I mean, because of Jack now, I kind of have to not do it in spite.
Exactly.
Or at least do it in secret.
And then once you're done with the whole thing, then you go, so I knocked out Star Trek.
Yeah. Right. So I watched every single episode of Star Trek, Jack. You fucking fuck.
Okay. I'm not done yet.
Oh, sorry.
Tangentially related to Star Trek, I've also enjoyed watching Seth MacFarlane's The Orville. It's clearly written. Yes, it's clearly written for Star Trek fans, especially season 1. But if you don't need to have, but you don't need to have seen Star Trek to get a kick out of it. This may be a callback from a very old RCAD conversation, but I disagree that season 1 is the worst season. I think the original goal of the series was to parody and poke fun at Star Trek. For example, wouldn't they have awkward conversations in the lifts? I think it was taking itself too seriously in season 3, and that's ultimately limiting how far they can go conceptually. Although reasonable minds may differ. Thanks to the 4 of you for all that you do. I really enjoy tuning in for your ramblings. All the best, Amanda.
Oh. Well, thanks, Amanda. And yeah,
I'm curious. We're probably from the same area. So I grew up in Western Mass, very close, as in 2 towns away from Connecticut as well. So we may have been the same TV broadcast. But furthermore, to re-solidify my point, is that even when she had access to the watching Star Trek, she wasn't accessible to it as a child. She had to set her DVR, or not as a DVR. She had to set her VCR to record it at 2:00 in the morning. Sorry, as a young dude growing up in Western Massachusetts, I was not thinking about recording Star Trek.
Setting your VCR to record it, if you're of a certain age, you could do it. You could do it on your own. You could figure it out.
That's true.
But it took effort, and then there was also competing things no, I've got my thing in there to record the whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you remember how fucking hard it was to set recordings for your VCR?
Yeah,
I feel like those who were professionals in the 80s of setting the time and being able to program a recording.
It was 5 minutes because you had to push an arrow around.
Today's IT directors, they had a heads up on these things. Do you remember? I just had a flashback, and I don't know how it works. I never had one, but do you remember VCR Plus?
Yeah.
Yes.
So it was a specific VCR
I had it.
That you press in the code from TV Guide of the show, and it would automatically set to record it. So you don't have to worry about any of the bullshit.
VCR.
Yeah. You had one of those, Matt?
No. I had a DVR Plus.
Oh.
So
you're like 15, 20 years ahead.
I got that when I cut the cord because I wanted the ability to record games So I could record games off of live or whatever, off of just saddle or antenna TV, as you would back in the 80s with a VCR. You know, you set it to the antenna, like it's where you got your signals from.
Yeah.
One of the most subtle running jokes in a movie is in City Slickers, the movie City Slickers with Billy Crystal, and that while they're riding horses, you know, it's always just like the scenes that it's not really anything going on, but you'll hear them in the background. And there's actually a couple where they're directly saying it, but they're arguing over exactly what we're talking about right now. Like, how do you set a VCR? and it's something that you're not going to remember unless we're talking about it right now. Cause like they're talking about that. It's like, oh, like, do I need to set the clock? Like, no, you just need to know the time of when to record. It's like, well, how do I know it? And then like later on in the movie, the guy's like, you don't need a TV to record things on a VCR. You just have to plug it in and know what time to record. He's like, well, how am I going to watch it? He's like, well, for that, you would need a TV. You know, it's like, it's all just stupid, just way to fill up scenes. And
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was the one that figured out how to do that. So Quantum Leap was like one of my first shows as a, you know, teenager, like 14 or, 15. I would set it because I didn't want to miss the next leap, so but Star Trek, though, if you missed it as a kid, there's so many other Star Treks.
I mean, Jack disappointed in you for sure. Yeah. I don't know how people live with themselves, but
oh yes, Matt Treese, or hitting pause while you're recording so you can watch it without commercials.
Ooh, later on. That's right.
Fast forward.
Pro move.
I tend to
fast forward. Once I was into my 19s and 20s, I was recording MST3K off Sci-Fi Channel, and I was all about like editing those out because and this was when you thought, I'm going to hold on to this forever.
I know I've brought this up before, but my sister stole it from me years ago. But I had the 1983 original airing of Star Wars on TV on VHS. My dad recorded it. And I love that the commercials are on it because it's a time capsule of all the commercials from 1983. It's like when NutraSweet first came out and like the M&Ms.
It's like looking in a JCPenney or Sears catalog now, like from the 80s. Like you look through that, you're like, I'm just stepping back in time. This is a time machine.
It really is. Yeah. Tebow, 30-second skip.
I have gone down a goddamn rabbit hole.
Oh, what do you just share your screen. Share your screen with me. And then I can
because you know how to fucking do that when Jack can't figure out the fucking
we're taking our CAD to the next level. I think I'm gonna take over this podcasting gig here.
All right, let me see here. All right,
let's see what you're looking at here.
Wow.
VCR Plus. This shit was crazy. Like you would like put this on top of your VCR. I still don't understand how exactly it worked, but I believe what the shit even sets your cable box. So I believe it used like an infrared receiver, and you would plug this into maybe the back of the cable box or the back of the VCR, or I don't even know. I don't even know how it worked.
Could that be a more late 80s font?
I know,
right?
But you'd go through and like in the newspaper or in TV Guide, they would have the VCR Plus like 6-digit or 4-digit code. So you'd walk up and you would just type in the code, bump, and it would correspond to a specific channel at a specific time. So I believe they had like a preset number. So it didn't like need to have any type of communication to the outside world. It's simply just like knew from like an algorithm of like the combination of numbers of like channel number and time to record for you. So you say, I want to. Oh, that didn't age well. The Cosby Show. If you wanted to record the Cosby Show, you just type in 6035, and it knows that like that combination of numbers means a specific channel recording from what time frame to what time. It was so much easier. I never had one, but I remember like wanting to have one. Anywho, but yeah, that was VCR Plus.
Well, that was cool. Thanks. Now we do have some other emails, don't we? Or was that the only?
We have two more.
Okay, 2 more.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. All right. So the next one is
Strap
titled
yourselves in.
For Chris.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Wow.
Popular. I like it.
I told you, all three are Chris centric.
As Jack would say, "Oh well, he's the favorite."
Fan favorite.
Fan favorite.
Sorry, Jack.
Hey, y'all. A couple weeks ago, Chris mentioned he might be coming to Nashville for a show in
I am.
September. Yeah. I was at a movie that night, so I could not answer the question about the amphitheater.
Amphitheater.
Yes, thank you. Chris, I think the show you were talking about is at the Ascent Amphitheater. It is in downtown, right on the river. It opened around 2017 and is a great venue. I have been a lot of shows there. You will definitely enjoy it. It is
That is the place. Ascend. Yep.
It is convenient and small enough that there is no bad seat. I want to give you a pointer about the drinks there. Alcohol, all alcohol, but especially craft beer is expensive.
Oh, yeah.
In all caps.
Like $20 a can, most likely.
As in over 20 for a can.
Oh, fucking okay. Yeah. I'm sneaking joints into that place.
But there is a workaround.
Okay, I'm hearing.
There's always a workaround.
Yeah, the old reach around. There is a wine stand where you can get an entire bottle of wine for $50. This is absolutely the best bang for your buck there.
Yeah, but fuck, I can't picture myself drinking a glass of wine at a concert now.
Just chug the bottle.
Fucking Merlot!
The fucking Merlot! What is this shit?
Okay, I'm listening though. These are hot tips. Okay, keep going.
On the other hand, the show is at First Bank Amphitheater. The show is at First. Okay, this is actually south of Franklin, which is 20 miles south of Nashville. There is only a 2-lane road to get to it for the final 2 miles. So I guess we've already established that this is not the amphitheater.
Correct. Yeah, it will be the Ascend Amphitheater.
Okay.
But, thank you for the good tips. That's awesome.
Not done yet.
Oh shit! Sorry.
This email is all for you. You got to sit down and just enjoy it.
Love. It feels warms my heart.
So I'm going to a concert at that venue to see REO Speedwagon, Train, and Yacht Rock Review.
Wow. That's a phenomenal show
in August. 2 quick things about Nashville and the law. THC is not legal here.
So I'm not sneaking joints into that concert.
Yeah. But currently, THCA is in a kind of legal gray area.
Tennessee's fucking little bass backwards there, but okay.
Yeah.
I believe Indiana's the same way with that.
So you can buy products that contain THCA. Yes, there are people selling it on Broadway. Nice. But like Vegas, ignore them. There are stores near downtown that I understand are much better. Not my thing, so I can't really tell you more than that. Okay. I've got 3 more paragraphs.
Oh.
Okay. Cops.
Nick hates to read.
I do hate to read. That's why we listen to audiobooks. Cops. This applies to Broadway only. Think of them like college campus cops. They are there for safety. If you or anyone in your group overdoes it and the police get involved, be nice. Do not argue with them. They may just take you to your hotel or try to contact your friends. As long as you can remember your
hotel. At the hotel with me?
I know, exactly. That's where my thoughts went too.
They're going to take me to the hotel.
All right, now get on that bed and spread them. Oh,
that's Nick.
Yeah. Some tourists have started wearing.
Time out. Randy in the chat says Jack never got 3 paragraphs.
This is true.
Fucking love it.
Okay.
Hope you're listening, Jack.
To Jack's defense, if Jack hadn't gone all out and been like, "You never seen Star Trek? Oh my god!" Okay, that isn't really how Jack sounds. But if he sounded like a van down by the river, he'd be telling you that why haven't you seen Star Trek? This email wouldn't have existed, right?
He would take credit because it was his shtick.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So we can't let him.
I'll give him a little bit of credit.
Okay. But
not too much.
The person did eventually come around to your side and realize
they did.
Yeah.
If they do take you to jail, keep your mouth shut. It's an 8-hour hold, and they'll probably release you with nothing further.
Oh.
You can then contact the county clerk the following week and have the record expunged for free. Or you can bail out for about $100. But then you have to come back for a court date.
Are you saying that they run the law like fucking Mexico, like it does to tourists down in Tennessee? I guess it's a big money-making operation, wouldn't it be?
Well, yeah, it seems to know a lot more about this than like, hey, I don't do it. I mean, it's not my kind of thing. But
there's some like experience happening in these comments. That's for I mean, Randy just said it. Speaking from experience. But
Randy for the win.
Yeah. I don't intend to get that involved with the law enforcement of the area that this few days.
I think they're just looking out for you, Chris. They know you're violent. They know that you're a violent history.
Fuck you, Nick.
And, I rest my case.
So fun fact. I mean, fun addition to this trip. So yes, I am taking the trip down to Nashville in the second week of September. I think it is. A buddy of mine is on a business trip there already for the week. And then my other buddy Dave and I are flying down to meet him because one of our favorite bands, My Morning Jacket's playing at the amphitheater, as we were just talking about. Fun additional fact. I'm like, I fly in on a Tuesday and I fly out on a Thursday. And I was like, oh, well, let's see what's going on around town on Tuesday. Like maybe for another a comedy show or but then I'm like, why would I be looking for a comedy show? I'm gonna be in the city of music, which is like, so I was like, okay, I looked at the calendar. Fucking Weezer is playing.
What?
With the Flaming Lips and Dinosaur Jr. And I'm going. I'm like, fuck it, why not?
It's at a venue and not like
it's at the Bridgestone Arena where the Coyotes play. Or no, not Coyotes. The Predators, rather. Preds play.
Why is there a team mascot named Predator? It's just okay. Anyway.
Yeah,
you said that last time too.
I don't know. I did.
But it's how cool is that? Like, apparently, I didn't know this, but Weezer is doing like a Blue Album tour.
Whoa!
So the entire tour is about the Blue Album. And they're playing with the Flaming Lips, who my buddy Jeff was like, dude, honestly, I saw the Flaming Lips at a concert in San Diego. He goes, and it was one of the best live performances I've ever seen in my life.
Yes.
So they're playing, and Dinosaur Jr. is playing. That's going to bring me back to like high school stuff. Like this entire trip is just turning out to be a fucking awesome. So I'm going to see Dinosaur Jr., Flaming Lips, Weezer, My Morning Jacket, and Nathaniel Rateliff of the Night Sweats in a span of 48 hours.
I want those playlists, like all like set lists on a playlist, so I can just kind of listen to what you.
Yeah, for sure. No, dude. That's if you go to Setlist FM, you can do that, right?
So okay.
I love that shit. I do the same thing.
Yeah, I'm really curious too as to what the Flaming Lips are. I'm sure they're playing more, but they could play anything. So,
but yeah,
I saw them on the soft. I saw them on the Soft Bulletin tour, which
nice.
That album, amazing. Just I think one of the best albums of that year. But or you could go with Rage Against the Machine. Both albums I think came out. Yeah, but anyway.
So this trip to Nashville is turning out to be fucking pretty sweet. So I'm pretty excited about it. But I do appreciate the heads up. I've been to Nashville a couple of times before, and I love it there. I think it's awesome. And I'm excited to go, especially during a time where it's going to be like midweek in September. So it's not going to be, like bullshit crazy everywhere. Like it, I mean, maybe it is, but who knows? But definitely won't be your bachelorette party atmosphere. But thank you, Matt. Don't get arrested. I'll do my best. I'll do my best to not get arrested.
But I'm if you now know what to do, though, know what to do. So
Miami Mike calling out the emailer, saying he's got a lot of info about being arrested. Randy says, "Yep, speaking from experience." Hey, you know what though? Sharing it out. Sharing is caring. Thank you for the heads up.
One last thing.
Oh, okay.
Oh, for fuck's sake, Nick. Fuck. Okay. Sorry.
Ascend is great, but the Ryman is the best. It seats 2,300 people, and every seat feels like a small club. You should definitely try to see a show there someday. After the first 10 or so rows, the best seats are actually on the balcony, which is true.
This is Will.
Yeah.
I didn't even know it was Will. This is awesome. He's like, I've actually never been arrested here.
Will the whole time is like, oh god.
Below are two pictures. One is from the top row of the balcony I took this past weekend on a backstage ghost tour. The other is from a Bush show in the spring of 2023. I was about 6 rows up from the balcony, and Gavin climbed up into my section for a song. So,
dude, what a picture, dude. That is awesome.
This one is what it looks like from the top,
Yeah.
And so you can see what he's talking about, like I'm like pointing at the screen as if like you can see.
Oh, that's crazy.
So, that's the floor down there, and this is the balcony. And so, yeah, he's right. Like, you should always try to sit on the balcony if you can't get front row. And the second one, you can see there, he climbed up the balcony to see right there. So that's pretty freaking cool.
Dude, that's wild. I love it. I love those, like, those places. Like, they just built, like, a version of that in Boston. It's part of the... what do you call it? The back corner of Fenway Park. They built the MGM Boston, I think it's called. But it's got that similar balcony, that short balcony, but the small stage area. I want to go see a show there. I haven't had a chance to, but it looks a lot like a much more updated, newer version of that one. But that one's awesome.
The Ryman's the old original Grand Ole Opry, so it's a church. I mean, it's a church. It has the feeling of a church. It's all wood. And it's really best if you can try to catch an all acoustic show there because the sound is amazing. I mean, I've seen electric shows there. I saw Mike and Trey from Fish play there an acoustic show, and that was really cool. I've seen Neil Young at the Ryman, but yeah,
I wish I knew that ahead of time. Now I want to go there because it looks awesome. I'm gonna see if there's anything else going on, like maybe during the day. They don't do like day shows there, do they?
They have day tours and things. You just have to kind of look at their schedule and see what they're doing. But it's right there on Broadway, so you can't miss it.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. I'm just looking at a picture of it now. It's legitimately a church. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. And then, like, I've told that story before. Like, Paul McCartney in '74 went to Nashville to record Venus and Mars at first in Nashville. He didn't like something that wasn't right in Nashville, so that's why he went down to New Orleans to record it. But he did record 2 songs while he was in Nashville: Junior's Farm and Sally G. And the story that he always tells is, he got to do a private tour of the Ryman, which was the Grand Ole Opry then. And he said that it's one of his memories of the place is that he decided to get down on the ground and look at the pews from the bottom. And he said that it was just nothing but gum all stuck underneath all the pews. And he said, he goes, in his mind, most people would probably be disgusted by that. He goes, but in my mind, he goes, this is so America. He goes, and I'm thinking about all the teenagers that are sitting there, like, listening to this music. And what do? They take their gum out, stick it underneath the pew. It's like, it's just been like all these years of gum, like, piled up underneath.
And one day we're going to use that DNA to create super soldiers.
Right.
A week later, the Beach Boys are playing at the Ryman. Fuck! What? That would have been amazing.
Well, so that's Mike Love and Company. Yeah. So.
Oh, yeah. So you don't want that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Still, it's just my first ever concert was the Beach Boys.
Yeah, I saw the Beach Boys.
Was that?
I think I saw them
before.
At Ohio
is that before
State
you were kidnapped
Fair.
in the spaceship and taken into the future?
Nice. Good call. I appreciate the reference. Oh man. One of my favorite movies as a kid too.
I know.
Compliance.
Well, was that the entire email?
That was the entire email from Will. Yes, and we have one more.
Thanks again, Will, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Will. I appreciate the heads up, and I will do my best to not get arrested. But if I do, I will take your advice.
You know what to do. You know what to do now.
Yes.
So this next email is from probably the most loathed listener that we have.
Oh, okay.
It's just called RC80 Feedback.
Wow.
Yeah. Hello, fellas. I wanted to send some old school media junkyard go fuck yourself feedback.
Oh, nice.
In the last episode, Jack mentioned
GFY Mondays, baby. Let's go.
Jack mentioned the fabulous and hilarious Carol Burnett. Boston then said that nobody was searching for clips of her show on YouTube. Well, I am nobody, and I searched and watched clips of the Carol Burnett show on YouTube. I've been a fan of hers since the summer between 5th and 6th grade, when reruns of the Carol Burnett show would air on a local channel at 11 p.m. for a few years. So during the school breaks, I would watch the Carol Burnett show every night before bed. The show has a lot of classic skits, including The Old Man, Mrs. Wiggins, The Dentist, and my favorite, the Went with the Wind skit that sparked my interest in Gone with the Wind.
Oh, yeah.
I was so thrilled to see Carol on Better Call Saul. Spoiler for the show. Pause a second to give those that don't want to be. Well, you should put the warning ahead. Jesus. I will admit that if Saul hurt or killed Marianne, I would have thrown the remote, turned off the show, and I wouldn't have finished the series.
Oh, wow.
There will never be another Carol. Boston, I still love you, but go fuck yourself on the Carol Burnett show. Now that that's been said, quick movie feedback. I saw Twisters over the weekend. I thought it was just okay. It was missing a lot of some things that makes the original such a fun popcorn movie. I am so excited for Deadpool and Wolverine this weekend, though. And then for some reason they go back to Twisters, but it's been 24 years. Holy shit. And we finally got to see, no, never mind. It wasn't. It's been 24 years and holy shit, we finally get to see Hugh in the yellow and blue Wolverine costume. Keep up the great work. Jessica the Canadian.
Oh, that's why you.
Yeah, okay. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree, Mike. Twisters was obviously missing Carol Burnett.
That would have been an interesting tie-in and callback to the sketch. So the Gone with the Wind sketch. So
yeah,
actually, the Carol Burnett live stream is up to 50 viewers right now.
Look,
50 viewers in the Carol Burnett live stream.
Well, look, we don't need to jack ourselves on this one, okay, guys? We can actually just fully say that we do like Carol Burnett. Nobody is saying that we don't like Carol Burnett. Only Jack is saying that we don't like Carol Burnett because we haven't seen all of her sketch comedy, or the show. You get what I'm saying, right? Nobody's backing me up on this. Okay,
I'm tugging my ear.
I'm just saying that.
We like Carol Burnett.
Yeah, I got nothing against Carol Burnett.
We got nothing against.
Everyone likes Mrs. Hannigan. Just saying.
Also, one of my favorite Muppet episodes is Carol Burnett. Favorite Muppet episodes off the top of my head. The Carol Burnett one, which by the way is the only one to win an Emmy. And it's hilarious. To the Paul Simon one, because it's all Paul Simon music.
The Paul Simon one's great.
Yeah, it's solid. You got to go Mark Hamill because you get Star Wars crossover with the Muppets. It's fucking Fan-fucking-tactular. And the fact that they're all singing.
That's the web episode title, by the way.
Fan-fucking-tactular.
I don't know if I can put fucking in there, but yeah.
You put F-K-N-G. F-A-N-F-K-N-G Tactular. You can make that work.
Okay. What am I thinking of now? I'm reading Miami Mike's comment and just going off the rails here. But the Muppet Show, though, Mark Hamill at the end with them all singing When We Wish Upon a Star, which is so flippin' meta now if you watch it, because Star Wars, Muppets, all owned by Disney, and they're singing When We Wish Upon a Star. It's pretty heady stuff there.
It's pretty heavy stuff there. But...
It is. It's pretty wild. You guys got any favorites that you can think of that you remember watching when you were kids of the Muppet Show?
Oh no. Like I said, like that was what I was kind of mad after watching the documentary that Muppets Take Manhattan was not available. And it's because what I heard is because there are Sesame Street characters in it, and Disney doesn't have the rights to Sesame Street, so that's why they can't include it. But that's the one I watched the most as a kid because that came out in like '86, so that would put it right with my age to watch that one the most.
Muppets Take Manhattan.
Yeah, Muppets Take Manhattan.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. When Kermit gets hit.
Yeah.
Jeez. like
I think I rented that movie quite a few times from the local mom and pop VHS rental.
People's is people's, okay? And if that's not on a shirt somewhere, it needs to be.
Yeah. And then for me, I think watching the Christmas episode, the Muppets Christmas, was like a staple. I think
Denver.
We recorded it on a VHS. You know, somebody was able to do it in the house, and we recorded it. I think I watched it so many times. And then one's like, watch the Icy Patch, because everyone slips and falls at the front door.
Well, all 5 seasons are available on Disney Plus, so it's
watch them while you can, or they're going to take them off in a year. I went back to watch Indiana Jones Chronicles. Gone. Can't watch them any. They were on there for just a hot minute.
Yeah, I watched like the first 2 episodes and then kind of lost interest.
Well, because it's the kid, it gets better with the teen. So if you're watching them in chronological order, and by the way, there was an episode where it has the Harrison Ford, and I wanted to watch that one episode, and now it's gone. I'm just like, come on, why can't we have nice things?
Why do they take shit off?
I know, it's annoying. So watch it while you can, because you never know.
It's like when they would come out to the VHS and go, better buy it now or it's going back in the vault for no telling how long.
It feels that way. It feels like you actually do have to have a DVD or a Blu-ray copy of some of these movies, or else you're not going to see them.
The Swedish Chef trying to take out fucking Big Bird. This Big Bird's visiting for the holidays. He's like, birdie. And he tries to fucking throw him in the pot. I missed that shit.
You definitely missed the Muppet Show intro a couple weeks ago, Chris.
Oh yeah, that's right. I was trying to.
That was the song I picked to do.
See, it comes full circle, because you know what the icon I used for tonight's show was Kermit with a banana.
I did. I know. I thought that was very clever, because I wanted to say that was better done than any of the ones Jax have done, because you actually had a real banana. With,
Well, no, I mean, it was just I was looking for banana and Muppet, and then there's the famous The Banana Muppet sketch, which is that with Carol Burnett? No, it's with it's with somebody else. What's her name? Damn it. I just was looking this up the other day.
Christmas, that's what it was.
Muppets Family Christmas.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
1987.
Yeah.
It was a crossover of Sesame Street, the Muppets all getting together for Christmas.
Yeah, that one you can watch on YouTube illegally, but yeah.
Yeah, it was Fozzie brings everybody over to his mom's house. It like drops it in, and
Sandy Duncan, that's who it is. She's on the episode with the the banana sketch Muppet episode. So for those Muppet fans, for those that don't like Muppets, go fuck yourself. So I love me some Muppets. So they just, there's something else going on with Brian Henson. Like he's doing some kind of more, young adult style puppet kind of show. I think called Pop Up or something like that. Yeah. I don't know if it's like just a live performance kind of thing, like what they did with Avenue Q. But anyway, we're just about out of time. I'd like to talk more, and but
If you guys have, if you haven't gotten around to it, watch Presumed Innocent on Apple.
Yeah.
The last episode just aired today with Jake Gyllenhaal. It's a good remake of the Harrison Ford film. They definitely changed it from the book and the movie. So it's
okay. So it's on Apple.
On Apple.
Okay.
8 episodes.
We'll get together next week again. I think who's in next week? Are we all?
Yeah,
back?
I think we should all 4.
I'll be here.
Yeah.
Cool. One thing that we talked about on the last episode, we didn't get to talk about in this episode, but also Randy mentioned it in the comments. And by the way, really sorry for all the confusion last week with the 2 links and the 2 episodes, and we were all like, so sorry for anybody that got lost in that or didn't get to listen to the first half and then joined us late. Like
I didn't even show up.
Yeah, you didn't even show up. You didn't get the right link either. So hopefully we can iron that out and that doesn't happen again. But to that point, we were talking about best soundtracks.
Oh, nice.
And I don't know if we've ever done that.
No, I know we've discussed this because I know Chris and I, and even you, Matt, to the extent like we were talking about Days Confused soundtrack, and we talked about different ones before. I'm not sure if we ever had a verses on it, but
Randy mentioned in the this is on the Facebook group, Into the Wild. That was a good suggestion.
Oh yeah, very good.
That's a great soundtrack.
Yeah,
I mean it's got a specific vibe
or Summer of Sam rather.
It's got a feel. Yeah, I Am Sam soundtrack you're talking about.
I think we could almost put this into two groups where you could have
original,
original music, because like with the Into the Wild, like I feel that's original music for that specific movie, whereas something like Top Gun, right, is kind of more of a compilation. Do we have compilation?
Oh, Top Gun. Yeah, Top Gun had what? 5. I mean, it's probably like half the songs of Top Gun are originals.
Right. I mean, they do. I mean, what about like Caddyshack? That has some original, but
we definitely would have to decide.
Right. Yeah. So this is what I bring up to Nick, the thinker, the judge, jury, and executioner of the rules. But maybe we can think about some different categories for soundtracks, because we definitely could go more symphonic. We'd all be clamoring over like Star Wars and stuff like that. But fuck Jaws, like that, that is like John Williams maybe doesn't get better than that. It's kind of like The Lost Noise. It's like it's so iconic that it almost kind of becomes this thing that just like lives bigger than the actual rest of the music.
Yeah, it's one of those things too.
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. Yeah. But aside from yes, you're right. It's absolutely right. Andre Young Arthur. Okay.
Oh yeah, you're joining us again, Andre. You joined us last week. So sorry for not seeing you there in the chat. So, whoa,
nice.
Like that's the one that everybody knows, but I mean, it's one of those things where like I could put on either Star Wars or Empire Strikes Back to kind of reaffirm what Matt's saying. I can just have it on mute, and I can say every line. I can know every music cue. You could actually just have the soundtrack playing and not even have the movie on, and I know exactly what's happening in the movie. That's how iconic the music is to it. Lord of the Rings, I can't do too many of the themes. There's a few in there that I could be like, oh yeah, but like, I don't know.
I mean, the thing about the Lord of the Rings when I was watching The Hobbit was that when you watch it, because you've already seen Lord of the Rings, and you hear those notes come in with the ring, it just like it cements something like so sentimental and powerful. I don't know. I love that shit.
What's the differentiation of soundtrack of like compilation like versus composed? Like what's the term? If I were to search like a Google search to say score, thank you. That's the word I'm looking for. So best movie scores. If we're gonna have that conversation, you need to bring Ralph on the show because he is one of the most knowledgeable.
Feel like you run laps.
I know. No, he knows more about about movie scores than I do pretty much about anything else in life. He is very, very knowledgeable with movie scores.
And that's the argument, though, is that like if you're using original music, like what do you define? Like what? Like because there's definitely some soundtracks. Like you can even say like the Dune soundtrack, for example,
right?
Or it's not really. They're not melodies. They're not really. It's meant to drive emotion. And you love it for what it's giving you as a viewer, but it's not going to be something that's an actual song that's iconic in a film. There's an argument to be had.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I mean, and I know that to that point, Ralph is very anti Hans Zimmer, and to a point, like Zimmer's kind of created like a factory kind of system where he's kind of not necessarily the composer of everything, but he takes the credit for it. I liken it to like how I look at Jeffrey Coons. So it's like, there's a name, but he doesn't make his shit. It's just a name. Like he got to this point where he has enough money that he can just hire artists to make his artwork for him, right? Like this happens. So, and yet I love some of Hans Zimmer stuff. I know that Ralph would be like vomiting in his mouth a little bit for me just even saying that, but like I think of Interstellar or like what was the other movie? Inception. Like the music in Inception, like I really kind of fell in love with that, you know.
But like like I said, like I mean, he's been using the same composer for all of his films as well, because Inception, Interstellar, they're all just kind of.
Dune is also Hans Zimmer, so that's why I was kind of mentioning because Dune kind of in many ways, like the music just kind of creates or emotes a feeling of space or like it just kind of. It's almost temp music that's basically spiced up.
I remember like 4 or 5 months back, for all I know, it could have been 2 years ago. But Matt and I were talking about Brian Eno, you know, and Chris, and then Chris out of nowhere pulls like, didn't he do like a space soundtrack? And I'm like, yes, he did. He did 183 for the Apollo stuff. And like, you know, there is no sound in space, but that soundtrack, though, is exactly what you think of when you think about space travel, and like what it encapsulates, you know, what you would think of when you think of space sounds, and you know, it's so that's what I mean. Like that's it's great about scores, is that someone can put a feeling to notes.
Yeah,
you know?
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Ralph has a podcast about movie scores.
I think he does.
He actually has a legitimate like show he published episodes on.
Andre says, and wasn't Elijah Woods on part 1 of Lord of the Rings movie released 2001?
Yeah, I mean, I think I think he's calling back to when Jack only watched the first half of.
Oh, nice call.
Something that is funny, and I'm not sure if Elijah Wood was told to do this or if it was just the take that got put in the movie. But, you know, the very end of Return of the King, you know, when the Eagles have dropped them back off and Elijah wakes up in the bed, you know, and like Sam's waiting for him. Then all of a sudden everybody comes in one at a time. And he's like, you know, you see his expression. There's no sound, but you see him go like, you know, Gandalf, and like, you know, and like everybody's coming in. Yeah. And then when Legolas comes in, he just looks at him like he doesn't remember who the fuck he is. And it's hilarious if you look at it in that context. Like he says everyone else's name except Legolas, and you're like, he doesn't remember Legolas. Like he's like, who the hell's this guy?
He's like,
I haven't watched.
I thought he was doing like the cool bro thing. Like maybe there's some fan fiction, some shipping of you know, Frodo and Legolas. Maybe he's just trying to be cool guy with him. Like, I'm not gonna like, what's up? Like, I'm not. He's risen him, as the kids.
I just had a flashback. Speaking about the score, right? Of like that, like that very, you know, powerful chord is right when like the marquee of the movie title is
right.
Up.
That's the one everyone remembers.
It's just like so perfectly timed. Yeah. I can see like the two towers. That's
but like
that's a good soundtrack.
But same with the Star Wars scrawl. It's just like that.
Yeah,
you know, like it comes out and it just attacks you. You know, it's just as powerful as Jaws. That done it.
I try to time it every single time. Like, you know, you see like long ago, galaxy far, far away. And I just try to wait so I can go like, like just you know,
or just, even like the Halloween.
Oh, like it just it worms your way. It worms your way, and your horror music does a great job of that.
That's what's taking away at your. I mean, yes, there's still. I mean, that's what I do miss about our childhood is how everything had a theme song. Everything had an interesting, you know, opening chords. Because like, what was it? It was a year ago or so, and I was like just whistling the HBO '80s theme song. You know, you know, it's like everybody who grew up watching, like, they know it.
Dude, so good. so good. I can see the marquee scrolling thing where the HBO goes sideways and the beams of light are shooting out and it goes across. Oh yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so even like just stupid shit. Like at the end of the shows, they'd be like, "Sit, boo boo, sit." Good dog.
Good dog. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, like all these, like just.
It's not boo boo. It's ubu because
it?
it's
What about-
Ubu Productions.
Okay.
Good night, Mr. Walters.
Right.
Nice. Dun, 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 dun. Gracie Films at the end of Simpsons. I don't even know.
And then the shh. That's when the shh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Yeah, things were way cooler when we were kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, those little outros.
Did you
some of the more modern ones though, like they would have different little funny sayings and
After these messages, we'll be right back. The heads roll across the screen.
What if just like our generation in a nursing home is just like it's the older generation or the younger generation dating us. They just play this like nostalgia.
You just like
that's
my buddies didn't dick down and wherever the fuck they were.
That was one like in 1988.
buddies at Burning Man in 2024 to you. Shitholes in this.
Oh man.
Godforsaken town. I don't know. I'm imagining that they would just give us a headset and sit down and like, here you go, Grandpa. Look at all of these toys.
Well, I mean, do you think it's gonna be like Will Fry and Matt Treist and these guys there and Randy sitting in the nursing home like talking shit about how they used to listen to this show?
Right.
Are we gonna be a part of the conversation?
I always imagine if I was in an insane asylum or a nursing home, which is pretty much the same thing.
They'd force you to watch.
Yeah. No, like there's a 1989 film with Michael Keaton.
Douglas Keaton. Okay.
Michael Keaton, and it's actually got a really good cast. Christopher Lloyd, and it's called The Dream Team. And they're all in the insane asylum. But there's the one actor that's in it. He's not catatonic, but the only thing he can speak in is baseball terms. And I always thought that's how I would be. Like I would only speak in movie quotes or something if I was in an insane asylum. Like everything, like and that's how that movie,
or music lyrics.
Or
that's
music
how
lyrics.
I feel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
you can.
I definitely would probably just be muttering the halls.
Oh, that's right, Peter Boyle.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to be the person that's saying, "Good night, Mr. Walters." Good night, Mr. Walters. Like just in the corner.
It's so good. I need to watch that. That's a good movie. I think I remember seeing that as a kid a bunch of times.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's not a. It's to me that there's a lot of movies that came out in the 80s that are 90 minutes long. They are not by any means, like an Oscar winner film, but they are solid, entertaining movies, and that's one of them. That was in the old Batman movie from the 80s. Like, what? Oh yeah.
Oh fuck! That made me feel really old.
Oh,
you mean the old Batman movie? Yeah, the old one.
Oh god,
not the old one like in the 60s. The old one from the 80s.
That old Batman. Fuck.
Yeah. No, my.
Imagine how Jack feels.
But like, I know. Right? But I mentioned this before on the show. Like, I have like really fond memories of that being like my world. When it came out. Yeah. Like it was Batman logoed everything, and it was like, where are you gonna get the yellow Batman logo, or you can get the white Batman logo? Which one are you gonna get? It was just like I remember
My mom picked up the black shirt, JCPenney. She just picked it up at JCPenney's for me. I wore it to school, and it was the one time that I was cool.
You got laid,
right?
Like
everybody. Where did you get?
There was two. There was two shirts.
An idiot. I told everybody.
There was the black. There was the black with the yellow, and then there was the full Joker. It was the Joker holding a card, like two cards, like it was a crazy face one. That was the two shirts they released for that movie.
Joker with a crazy face. I've seen that around.
Yeah.
Chris, somehow you got muted.
You got muted again, Chris.
Sorry. That logo, man. That was just like Remember how it was? I'm looking at it now. Just like, it's like the shiny, like sparkly Batman.
Share
logo.
it with us, brother.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on.
You can always share stuff with me if you want to. So
I will.
Andre does say in the chat here, the 1980s wasn't that long ago. Those were still the best use ever decade, even though I'm a 2000s kid born 2001. Well, thanks for joining us though, because that's cool.
Maybe I'm just that's the VHS cover there, or that's the poster. Yeah, but it was the VHS as well cover.
Yes,
that like toned bronzy, like it just brings back memories.
Yeah,
Andre, like maybe I'm biased, but I have that because I was a kid in the 80s, as all three of us were. But to me, the 80s were just a magical time in that it brought imagination out. Like every movie, every television show, every cartoon allowed not just kids but adults to be kids and to that anything was possible in a way of like. Because you think about how much stuff we had. We had He-Man, Teenage Mutant Turtles, and all the superheroes were coming into fruition at that time, and like all these things that were in Star Wars, and it was just a magical time. It was not serious movie making like it had been in previous. It was just like, hey, let's just have fun. I know that's the way my memories of the 80s is, and there was a cereal for everything and toys out the ass, and it was just
the toys in the cereal boxes was just something amazing. There were Kellogg's did records. You could get a 45 in a cereal box. So, it just you'd send away for box tops. I had this memory just the other day. My mom had signed me up for this like special thing. It's like it would come in the mail over summer. Because you're like, oh, summer's out. You're not in school. And she was like, oh, I signed up for this thing. You'll get one every month over summer. And it'll be a packet full of things. I fucking waited for that thing. Like, I swear. Like, it was just like, the fact that she told me that it was coming, I think it made that summer extra long.
All right.
Because every day I would just wait for the mail. And it was just like, it's not here. Okay.
And that's what's crazy about today, like with Amazon and everything. So like now if I order anything and it lasts longer than 3 days, I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Right. And yeah, back then you'd wait it'll be there in 6 to 8 weeks. 6 to 8 weeks. Right now, Chris, you're sharing with us the Joker. Jack Nicholson is the Joker.
I remember just being as a kid, like,
when was the last time you saw Batman?
It's been a long time.
When you watch it, I kid you not, because I watched it with my son just recently, and it was like Star Wars, where I felt like I could say every single line in that movie, like as it came out, and the soundtrack.
Who do you love?
Like again, I think Batman, Prince, like solid contender. For it has to. I don't know. I mean, I know there's so many different great soundtracks, but I like it.
I think it has probably 3 good songs on it, and the rest of it is decent.
Hold on. I'm so sorry, Nick. I'm sure what you just said was super important. However, I got caught up reading Miami Mike's fucking comment. Jack Nicholson was fucking 42.
No, that's
in
not
that
right.
movie.
No, that's not right. Because he was like 40 when he did The Shining, and that was 1980. So
wait. Are we sure about this?
I have to fact check that one.
On.
52. Oh, there you go. 52. My bad. 52. Yep.
Okay. Well, that makes me a little bit better.
A little bit. I was like, that
hashtag bad math.
Like, I thought that like Andre Young author's comment about that old Batman movie made me feel old enough.
We appreciate that you've joined us live in the chat. So
to realize that
no worries.
I'm older than he was.
Still, we're creeping up.
That's what I said. Remember that? Like what? Like
Jack's older than him.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, but it's like remember that I said that to you, Chris, like last year, that we were the same age as Tom Hanks and Saving Private Ryan, like last year. And I was like, son of a bitch, like
yeah. That's wild.
Of course, that was 25 years.
Jack was
26 years.
Drake, what's up, my guy?
Wow.
Been a minute.
Thanks for joining us in the chat. Yeah. Back to Andre, what you said. I asked you in the chat if you had seen the more recent Michael Keaton version in the Flash, and Andre said that he had not seen it yet. So, by the way, worth a watch. I try to just not think about the horrible actor that is playing the Flash,
right?
And just watch it. Which, when I watched it with my son, who had no knowledge of any of that going on, he actually enjoyed it. I was like, okay, that's cool. I wish that they would have used Grant Morris from
CW.
From CW. I think it would have been the smart choice. Just flip it around and have him, especially with all of the, but Chris Drake dunking on Jack tonight. Jack is hella old. So Andre, he's a little bit under 90. I mean, he could still run for president.
I mean, just to me, I'm sure you guys too. Like when we met Jack or first listened to Jack 18 years ago, he was only like,
I think
45. So
I think I've lapped Jack on the age on which I met him to when maybe. Yeah. I'm not sure. I haven't done that math quite yet.
Either 45 or 46. Yeah. So he was, he still had color in his hair. He still had hair, then.
He did have hair.
I was trying to do the math earlier on the length of this show when I tried to pull the plug. And yet here we are at an hour and 30, which is our sweet spot.
It's just the way we are.
That's how it happens.
I would love to do a post show, Nick, with you about Let It Be. I recently watched that.
Oh.
So
I mean, just the first time, or you mean the movie, the 70 movie? Yeah,
right.
Okay, gotcha.
Right. So, and I have notes.
Oh, cool. I mean, I don't mind.
I mean, we haven't done a bonus show in so long.
That's true.
So
I don't know if anybody even does the bonus shows anymore. We should for the patrons.
We should.
We only have like 2. So,
well, let's thank those patrons, and then I don't know. I guess we could do a tag on another show. What do you say?
If anybody would like to have a Beatles discussion,
yeah, let's do that. Okay, so let's wrap this up real quick. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for everybody that joined us live in the chat. Chris Drake, Andre, join us, and again, Will. Thanks for the emails. Did we get through all the emails?
Yep, we got all 3. Yep.
Randy, Treist. I'm sure Sherry was listening at some point, and if I didn't mention Miami Mike, of course. Thanks again. So I hope I thanked everybody that joined us.
I think you got it.
Thank you to the patrons. If you do have any emails, please send them in to the Ramblecast. It's rcadcast@gmail.com. That's rcad cast@gmail.com.
@gmail.com.
Thank you. And the patrons that we thank, Eckhart Richter Gladfelter, I believe, Maggie the Magnificent, Joanne with the Master Plan, and Ed the Creepy Letter Carrier. So I won't do you like that. I won't do you dirty like that, Ed. I've met you in person. You're a decent guy.
He's a bit poopy.
I don't think he's creepy.
No, poopy. He's poopy.
I don't think he's poopy either. Yeah. But anyway, thanks again.
That's why Jack's not the favorite.
He just insults everybody.
Yeah.
Wow, dropping some controversy on Jack tonight. So, who said he said he might have joined us, but maybe with all this trash. And Sherry.
Sherry. He mentioned you, Sherry. I heard him say it. Didn't you? I think you did.
I did. Yeah, I did. I said I didn't know if she had joined us, but
I am curious. Like, I'm sure you guys saw the brick. So for everyone out there, Jack's family got a brick put in at Petco Stadium.
Oh, yeah.
That has their family name, fans since 1969, all that. I am very curious how much they paid for that fucking brick. But
that's got to be a pretty penny.
I bet it's a pretty penny because there was the small bricks and then they had the big brick. So it's like they dropped some cash.
That's awesome.
But anyway, yeah. You saw the photo I sent.
I did. Flip them off. Nice job.
Well, thanks everyone for joining us. We'll talk to you later. And good night.
See y'all.
Hasta luego.